Okay, let's get started. So the first thing that I want to show you before we actually create in the journal is show you a little bit about how I set up my space, because to me this is key to setting myself up for inspiration and really inviting serendipity, and that's how stories emerge for me. So I really do everything I can, even before I start creating, to just create an environment that's playful and inspiring and just kickstarts my creativity. So the first thing I want to show you is my journal, and to me it really is like a storybook, which means that it's not just about creating in it, it's also about going back to it and sort of reading it or looking through the pages for stories and guidance and inspiration. So my pages are full of images and collage and stories and things that I have journaled about, and there are words because it's a journal, and many of those words come from cutout words that I have here. So I have some smaller ones from book pages and I have some bigger ones from magazines, and pretty often just picking words or just going through the words will just create associations and ideas, and it's very poetical sometimes, and so this is something that I really love and that can start a page for me. So here are a few of them. So they're very different and they tell different stories, and they're a way to process emotions for me. So this is a moment in time that I can go back to, and sometimes a long time after creating a page it starts to speak to me, and I even write on my blog about those stories that I find after creating them. So I also have lots of pages that are not finished, and I don't do my pages in order, and this is very playful, and I can just pick a starting point. Like for instance, this page has a little bit of collage, and then I had some leftover paint, and it just happened here on the page after a painting session on a canvas. So this one, for instance, has a story that has just started to emerge about love, and there's this couple and those pages from a vintage book with the word inseparable. So it's really not finished at all, but I know it's a starting point for me. Others are just really, really rough, and those are just leftover paints. And this one is the one I'm going to work on today. So it had a lot of scribbles on it in black. I already covered this up a little bit with book pages and a little bit of gesso. I just glued down the book pages with matte gel medium. That's what I use in my journal. I find that it helps the page not stick together, but when in a hurry I can also use a glue stick. But for this kind of background, the matte gel medium is much better. And then on top I added a little bit of gesso, roughly dry brushing it with a flat brush. Now, in the same way that I collect words to invite stories and inspiration, I also collect images and collage materials. I keep them all in a big basket like that, and every time I finish a painting project, all the leftover papers just end up in the basket. And this way I always have plenty of materials, and it's messy, and that's what I love, because every time I go through the basket something will catch my eye and it will be my starting point for something more, and then I will start adding to it and bringing more and more papers together and create a little bundle, and this is very often what starts a story for me. So to prepare this lesson, I actually spent half an hour sitting on my bed with my basket and just finding materials that we can use today. So I made two bundles actually, because I had two things that caught my eye. The first one is this yellow paper with the butterfly, because yellow is really not a color that I use a lot. I just use it as accents most of the time, but really not as the main color of a work. I don't think I've ever done that, ever. But the other day when I created my bundle, it really, really called to me. But at the same time, I also had those colors, those greens and beautiful neutrals that were calling to me also. It all started actually with this image of a green shutter, and I don't know, it felt very attracting to me in the moment. So I just kept gathering more and more pieces that would go with it. So in the end, I have two bundles and they are both telling completely different stories. I have this one, which is a bit moodier and stronger because there's this dark green and those words that happened also. And these are colors that I'm much more comfortable with. And at the same time, I was gathering those yellows and other neutrals, but warm tones that would go with it. And I think that maybe because this made me slightly uncomfortable, it was more comfortable and more inspiring to also gather the other bundle at the same time with the green. So anything that can help me keep going, I'll do that. And this type of background is also super helpful to feel inspired for me because it's neutral, so any other color scheme that I will put on top will work. It's just like a blank canvas that's just not so blank. So because today I've decided to be brave, I'm going to use the yellow little bundle here and not the green one. I'll keep that for later. But just the act of sitting in bed and just sorting papers and finding color schemes that appealed to me, that really inspired me and also made me spend a really relaxing moment. So in my bundle I have plenty of yellows, and here are some more, and lots of neutral tones. Written paper, sheet music, patterned papers, this image here, this paper that has a touch of yellow, and those little birds maybe. I also have this fun little set of library cards in this little envelope, and I'm thinking maybe I'm going to add this to the page and hide things inside of it. Why not? That could be fun. So I think that this is already starting to feel like a playful story. It's going to be whimsical, and I know that's part of what the page is going to tell me. I also have just a few that are more delicate and translucent little papers, tissues, fabric, cheesecloth, a little bit of lace, really playful little things. And then another way that I set up myself for inspiration is that just after creating my little bundle of papers, I gathered art supplies that would go with it. So I tried to find everything that I have in yellow. So I have a green gold Pitt artist pen here and a raw umber one, but it's really a yellowish tone, really more like yellow ochre. This is yellow ochre, it's a Neocolor too. And some neutrals, black Posca, white Posca, brown Pitt artist pen, and gray and white and black, because these always come in handy. And I also have the same colors as these with other materials. So I have alcohol inks in butterscotch and caramel. So this is really a bright yellow, and this is a yellowish brown. And as a neutral, my transparent raw umber acrylic ink, which is very beautiful warm tone. Okay, and what else? Just a little bit of water and some neutral acrylic paints, a cool one, a gray one, and a warm one, buff titanium. So I'm going to start just arranging my little papers, and I think I'm going to start with a little cluster that will be like the focal point of my page. I'm going to start with that. And I'm going to start with what appealed to me at the beginning, which was some of this very yellow paper. So I have this butterfly. So butterflies are one of my favorite symbols. So they happen again and again in my journal. They always have something to teach me. So this is super bright, so I'm not going to use too much of it because it's going to really overwhelm me very fast, I think. So what are the other favorite things that I have in my bundle? I have this word here, wish, which I absolutely love, and my little envelope. So I'm just going to quickly go through my materials and just discard what I'm not going to keep and just create my little cluster here on the page, just without gluing for now. Okay, see, this was inside my envelope, but I had totally forgotten that it was there. I wanted something a bit dark to have a lot of contrast, and I'm thinking it's actually very nice with the envelope, maybe like this. Okay, that's enough to get me started. So I'm just going to take a picture of that. I very often do that just to remember vaguely the placement of everything. And before I start actually gluing the papers, I'm just going to take a look at what's there, because there are already things that speak to me. I have the word introduction, and here the word imperfection, eternal, wish. Yeah, this is already inspiring me. So I'm just going to take my matte gel medium, my flat brush, and I'm just going to glue everything down. Okay, I think everything is down on the page now. There's just my little butterfly here that I'll add in the pocket once it's dry. But for now, this is just the basis of my page, and it's already full of an atmosphere, something that really starts to speak to me. And I could almost stop at this stage. It doesn't have to be something that takes a lot of time. It doesn't have to be elaborate. It can just be about getting started with something, anything, and just following the flow for a few minutes, see where it takes you. So while this dries, I'm just going to start getting away from it, not looking at it too much, and start picking some words really, and anything that just calls to me in the moment. And I'm already influenced by everything I have put on the page. So let's see. So sometimes I start with the smaller ones, sometimes with the bigger ones. Here I've just spotted some yellow or orange here. I am more than. So sometimes it's just the look of the words that will call to me first, and then we'll see if it fits with the page. I have wish again. Il était une fois is once upon a time in French. I like that. And also, yeah, something I forgot to mention is that when I do the collage part, when I do the placement of things, I really try to follow my first impulse. Anywhere the paper landed the first time, I'm trying to keep that if possible. So for instance here, the Il était une fois, once upon a time, I just put it here, like not even looking at the page as a whole, but I like it here. I like the contrast of the white with the yellow, so I'm just going to keep it here. Actually, it's still very sticky, so I can just add it right away. So for instance here, I had those moments of, and then that are worth the journey, and I love what it created in my mind. And I'm just going to remove the off here and keep moments that are worth the journey. And this is super positive to me. It's a page that's really positive. Sometimes I do some really moody pages, but this is not what's happening today. Everything is extraordinary. It fits right here. See, this one I discarded, and then it just came back to my mind, and I realized, no, I want that. A very simple story. I think that's fitting for this page. Okay, I think I'm going to stop here with these words, and I'm just going to go for my little ones, which are pieces from some novels and lots of things I love. The trees start to whisper again. That would go really well with my green bundle that I did before. Each moment my new joy whispered in my ear. I like that. Au printemps means in springtime in French. Would you like to begin your journey now? Okay, so this doesn't have to be too long, or it can be very long, whatever you like, as long as you keep feeling inspired. And I'm only going to keep a few of them. Okay, so for now I'm just going to add whatever I'm sure about. The words I'm not sure about, I'm just not going to glue first. I like this little cluster of meaning, of words, of images and color. It doesn't have to make sense fully. It just evokes something. And now that I'm looking at this part, I realize that there's the word eternal above that. Eternal moments that are worth the journey. Okay, so up until now I have worked with neutrals mostly, so that was really easy for me. But it's time to add a little more of that scary little yellow. So I'm going to start with my alcohol ink. The first thing that just feels good to me, this is what I'm going to use. There's really no order, and it's really bright. So it's going to instantly take me out of my comfort zone and make this page more dynamic. Maybe some of my Bit Artist pen just to add a touch of yellow here and there. This is a very monochromatic color scheme. It's really just the neutrals and the yellow. This is some yellow ochre, and I'm just going to activate it with a little bit of the gel medium on my finger. I could use water, that would be just fine. So I like to have the yellow more here and not too much over there. So I need some more here. So what about my yellow from the beginning that I didn't dare to add? Because now I'm all warmed up and I can become more daring, and it's just paper and glue in my journal, really. So sometimes we put pressure on ourselves for some very, very simple little things. And I also have my little pieces of fabric, cheesecloth and things like that. Do I want them or not? Sometimes you just put things around you on the table just for inspiration, but you don't have to use them. So this is just about adding things that make you happy. Especially this page feels very happy, and there's a lot of childlike joy in it. So I love texture. Texture is one of the things that inspired me. So I'm just adding more texture. And this is totally optional, but around the end I also love to add a little bit of opaque paint to blend things together. So this is my Titan Buff. I'm just going to add it here and there with my same brush that still has some gel medium on it. So this is really just about using what feels good in the moment. And because I have prepared everything on my table right at the beginning, I know I can just keep going with everything that I like. I don't really like the gray, but it's okay. And there's always at some point something I don't like, so I'm just going to remove most of it before it's dry with a bit of water and my rag here. And I know that a lot of my process is about adding and removing, layering. So I know that this is going to create a bit of a distressed look, which now I like. Okay, so I'm just going to take my black Stabilo here and maybe add a bit here and there. Just some lines and scribbles, and activate it with a little bit of water. Just make it a little more grungy and messy. what else didn't I use? My raw umber ink, just a little bit. So this is just to keep playing, really. And adding a bit of contrast. And here we are. So I really could go on and spend as much time as I want on this page. But for now, the stories are here. And when I take a step back and I look at the page, it's going to tell me that much more. Like for instance, here I'm just noticing that I have the word imperfection just before my eternal moments. So this happened with serendipity, but now I can just work with it. So I'm just going to hide that with a little bit more paper. Okay, and now we have imperfect eternal moments that are worth the journey. That speaks to me, and that's just fun to see it emerge like that. And because this is my journal, I'm just going to journal over the page a little bit. And this is something that I do pretty often at the beginning of the process and at the end. So I didn't do it before, so I'm just going to do it now. I'm just going to pick some of the words that are already on the page. I'm going to start with my imperfect eternal moments, and we'll see where it takes me. Okay, I'm going to stop now. It's starting to rain, so it's a perfectly beautiful imperfect moment. And I'm going to place my little butterfly here hidden inside my little pocket just because it makes me smile. And I hope you enjoyed this and that it's going to give you ideas to create pages and let stories unfold imperfectly and allow yourself to be totally beautifully imperfect in the art that you create, because sometimes this is where the true stories happen, and this is where you find inspiration for something more. So enjoy!